Dr. Abusrewil, will you please take the stage, introduce yourself, tell us where you work, and a little about how you got started in fruit trees and what you're doing now?
Yes, I'm Dr. Giuma Abusrewil, originally from Libya, North Africa. I got my BSc from University of Tripoli, Libya. Then I got my master MSc degree in horticulture, mainly viticulture, University of California, Davis. Then I got my PhD from Washington State University in horticulture at Pullman City, Washington State. Then I moved to Middle East and came back in 2022, and I lived for months in Oregon. Then I moved to Columbia, Missouri. Since then I am here, and I'm working on small farm outreach program, extension department, Lincoln University of Missouri since that time. I'm a horticulturist. I have my experience, long number of years, advisor for graduate student, research, advising committee. So I got that all experience. I'm still learning from farmers because they have their own experience and I want to share it with them. And today I will talk about, horticulture briefly, but I will talk about pruning, planting, and if I have time, grafting. So, uh,
Perfect.
if you have any question, just you leave your email or you contact me or contact Miss Grace, just to reach you. And sometimes even if it needs a field visit, I will go there.
That brings up
Okay.
a really great point.
Okay.
That offer for a field visit does stand. I do have everyone's email address. Following this recording, this is being recorded. I will post this on YouTube and I will send a link out to everybody so you can always go back to what we heard today. And that being said, I'll share emails over as well. That way, if you have questions, you guys are all in contact with each other to help each other out. Okay, so let's get started with questions. I think what kind of comes first and foremost with those who are getting started is selection, site selection, species selection, and even age selection of trees. Can you talk about kind of what to look for in that capacity?
Okay. During all my talk, you're gonna hear a lot about this, about the selection, because it's the best way to select your site. Don't just look for cheap soil or cheap land and buy. We have to ask about it, look around to see if that soil is fit for fruit trees, because fruit trees stayed maybe 50 years, maybe 100 years. It is not like green vegetable or anything like, or, small flowers or these, if you plant them, they are to stay. So we have to make very, very good selection in the site. Usually we look for resources. If you can get water supply or not, just in case of need, especially during summer. We have to look for soil that doesn't have shallow hard pan or rocky soil shallow, because the fruit trees, they go really deep. They are different from weeds and roses, flowers and that kind, or vegetable like lettuce. They are completely different. So if some farmers reach me and they want to buy land, it's better to ask before you buy, not to ask me after you buy. After you buy it, I cannot help it, because sometimes some people, they tried in that soil and they don't. Sometimes you have weather problem there. You have snow, you have very speed wind. That's not the place for the fruit trees. So we have really to be careful. And I will show you on the slides, not everything can grow there. Here in Missouri, we grow deciduous. We don't grow evergreen. We don't grow citrus, oranges, mango, avocado. That's not the place. I am talking about in the orchard. If you are having a lot of space in your greenhouse, and if you're gonna grow one or two trees, that's maybe it's up to you. But for me, for commercially and for better income, I don't recommend fruit trees inside the greenhouses because the greenhouses are costly to install and costly to, to keep maintenance. So uh, even for variety, when you want to select variety, you want to go your neighbors, look around. So because, for example, here, if you bring grapes, European grape, you like Italia or you like Emperor or Red Globe or anything, and you grow it here, no, it will be frozen. No way. But if you want to grow grapes, grow American and French hybrid. That's the two sources, for table wine grape. I don't mean table, not mean raisin. No way. No way. Okay. So we have to make really good choice of rootstocks because we need rootstocks to resist whatever problem we have in the soil. This problem may be kind of soil. Not all the rootstocks fit for the same soil. Maybe you have disease. Maybe you have nematode. Maybe you have problem of water drainage. That's the main problem in size selection and rootstock selection. I mean by rootstock that part of a plant we put in the ground. The top one we call it soil, or don't call it, we call it variety, but the rootstock is mainly to live in the soil. So we have to be very careful about selecting. If you come to rootstock of apples, we have different. We have two different kind of or sources of rootstocks. We have EM and MM. The people who grow apples, they know that. And we have Geneva. MM and EM, this is originated in England, but Geneva originated in New York. So we have different rootstocks according to your purpose. If we have, for example, small or dwarf, we have semi-dwarf, and we have standard. If you have limited space, you can grow dwarf. Or better space, maybe you can grow semi-dwarf. Or if you have open orchard and very big piece of land, you just plant it, standard. Same thing with bears. Here, that quince is not that popular, but here is mainly, apples, pears. And when I go to stone fruits, here they can grow peaches, they can grow plums, apricot. That's no problem. They can grow even cherry. Especially we have kind of indicator. If you have wild type kind of plant of trees like persimmon or cherry or plums or that's sure that to show you that your area is good or fit for this kind of fruits. So we can propagate on that one. And we can use those wild one sometimes as rootstocks since they survive in that area. This is the main, very essential. When we come to the variety, we have to look for the variety fit for the area. I don't bring variety that damaged by small frost. I want variety to mature in the right time. I don't want variety to stay longer than it should be because that depends on the blooming time, when it's going to bloom, how many days it needs to mature, how many hours or days to get a chilling hours. We make sure that the variety and the rootstock have enough time, chilling hours, which is during dormant. Degree days, that is after bloom till harvest. We have to do that to calculate that. Chilling hours calculated per hours. The temperature between 32 and 45 Fahrenheit. 32 and 45 Fahrenheit. Days, we calculate the temperature, the number of days when the temperature over 50 and it is bloom time. We calculated from bloom time till the maturity. I will say, for example, I know that apples, they need a lot of hours. Some of them need 1200, but mostly pears need maybe 1600, 1500, 1600. Peaches and the others, they are low. Almond are low. So these kind of trees, which as I said low, if the temperature raised up, the weather warm up, they thought that is the cold period is ended, and they start growing. When they start growing, if there is any climate change, severe change like the last 2 days, they will kill all those growth, all flowers, all buds. They have very big chance that they will be lost. So you lose your crop that way. So we have to
Okay,
have,
I'm
yeah,
going to interrupt for just a moment, um, and go back to rootstock if we
yes,
can. You had mentioned dwarfing rootstock, EMMM. I wanted to go back to this because I hear quite often in Missouri, people are moving to dwarfing rootstock or semi-dwarfing rootstock so that they can get the high density planting.
yes,
And I know that some of those rootstocks come with a better disease resistance package, and other qualities that they need. What is a good resource for someone to find the best rootstock? Like, is there a site or is there a space where we can research what rootstock might have the best disease resistance
yeah,
package?
because this way you go to the well-known resources. Like there is a communes nursery in New York. It's well, you know, and there is four centers here. They sell rootstocks disease free.
Okay.
They one of them in Oregon, I think one of them in Springfield. They sell. It's well known. They sell disease free certificate.
Okay.
So we can go to the source and about dwarfing or not dwarfing, it's well known. For example, if you come to or EM9, it's dwarfing. EM7, because EM it goes by these numbers. MM go over 100. So if you have good trees, for example, 111 or 116, this is EMM. It's Mono Morton, which is produced in England. So we have to look for, and it's, in go to the references, you can see it, which is dwarfing, semi-dwarfing, and standard. As your area increase, you can increase. I'm talking now about orchard. I'm not talking about parks or, for example, places where people they have to go or to pass, yeah, on the roads or something. Because that way I have to raise my trees up, don't let them down. But for orchard, the dwarf and semi-dwarf, they need trellising. And for example, beaches, we don't recommend the dwarf because their cold resistance is very low. So mainly for beaches, there is a lot of peculiar things for beaches, but for rootstocks, beaches, we don't recommend in Colombia and Missouri in general to have dwarf. But in the
Okay.
other area, it's, you know, okay. But you don't expect that the dwarf tree will be bigger, will produce more, and will live longer. No, no, because that will affect the tree. It's genetic makeup. So we have to be very careful. Where, if you ask you if is your piece of land protected or not? If you say no, the wind is just moving freely, I will ask you to do windbreaks and separate it from your fruit trees. But so on the purpose, what do you want? I can give you my advice. What do you want? Otherwise, I cannot just say, sometimes, as I said, I can visit you. Sometimes I don't recommend you to plant this site because usually we don't recommend in very high spots and in very low spots, we do recommend to plant them. If we have slope, it's better to have on the slope because that way you avoid water lodging, water accumulating there. No, we want irrigation.
Want the
We want,
better
yes,
drainage. Okay.
better drainage. Yes, we are putting in.
Perfect. Okay, thank you for going into that more. And I am sorry that I caught that just a little late. We were talking more about chill time and bloom time and variety selection in that capacity.
Yes. So yes, the bloom time, I said now start, for example, swelling. You can see the color change, but this means the trees, they got enough of their what they need. If you plant a variety need high chilling hours and you don't provide it with enough chilling, it will not bloom properly. No. And the same thing, there will be a delay in harvesting. We want to make a date when is your harvesting, when you're going to harvest your crop or your trees and reach the market, because there is a kind of competing between the varieties. So the good farmers, he knows I plant this variety, this number, and the other number from other variety. This mature in June, this is mature in July, this is September, August. Then the last one will be like black, like Arkansas black in October. So it's you manage that one. Otherwise, you end up with looking for how you're gonna sell your product. So we have to think about it. Is it early or middle or late? And we avoid blooming during frost. We have to pass the frost period. We have to. We don't, even if we're gonna plant, we have to pass frost because otherwise you cannot open the soil. You cannot. And these bare rooted, I will show the slides. If you leave them from 20 to 30 minutes in a freezing point, you lose your seedlings completely. So have to be careful. Even if you transport them in your automobile or your car or your pickup, you have to use air condition to warm up, no, or heater to warm up, not to cool down. So they don't, because if they exposed to less than 32, you are in trouble. We don't like even our roots to grow up under the soil surface to avoid frost damage in the winter and to avoid also dryness in the summer. So we have to put good water, good quantity of water, so the roots they go down. They follow or look for water, not go up. That's not recommended. So that's the way we have to do our irrigation system.
Okay, so you're saying to plant into warm soil after your first frost, especially with bare roots, and then water in
Yeah,
deeply.
I will. Yes, I will show that. I have PowerPoints. I will show you everything.
Okay.
I have the PowerPoint.
Perfect. I have had the experience of hearing from people who have planted prior to that last frost date with bare roots. Would a heavy mulch, if it is just a frost rather than a freeze, would a heavy mulch help
Yes,
seal that in?
yes. Just a second. Huh? Okay. Yep. After we plant, I will talk about planting, and I will show by slides. But since you ask question, I will answer. Uh, After planting and before we plant, we have to, if we can, we leave our rootstocks or the seedling, grafted seedling, the roots in water. Sometimes we leave them up to 20 to 24 hours to avoid dryness. Then when we plant them, we water them good. After we fill the soil back and press on the soil, so to avoid any air bucket. Then we will cover with mulch this cover with mulch may be up to 3 inches. But some people, if they have it, they can cover it even by haze. And this cover reach up to 6 inches to protect the root area. And if the mulch or the haze suppose not reach or touch the trunk, we don't like to have girdling of the trunk. So around it, and maybe we cover a radius of 3 feet with mulch. This mulch is good to protect, to say, to maybe to keep water from direct sunlight, and then to prevent weeds. So we use mulch for this purpose. Okay, so I will start. Is it okay now? Everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I will start now for horticulture. We defined horticulture as a science and art for growing fruits, vegetable, ornamental plants, and nuts. Nuts, which mean hazelnut, pecan, walnut, and chestnut. Okay, I will show you this one. This is my own mango trees. It comes from seeds. You see, it's in front of my office. You can see here it has leaves on the trunk. That's good ones. And it has good branching, which is good. But this one never go outside. Never. First, this one I expect from the trees, it will not bloom maybe after some years, because it's grown from seeds, and the tree grown from seeds, we don't recommend it. But this one, I don't know how to graft it, to get, the graft, to graft it, because it doesn't come true to type. If this tree flower and give fruits, it will not be like mother. Rarely it will be like mother, not a true type. So we have to graft it, and I will talk later on why we need to graft. But the trunk is okay, and the scaffold is okay, and it's exposed open for the light. So it's a good one. This is just to show you, but I am against on commercial size to get money to have something in very expensive. Some people, they think they grow, trees in the greenhouse. I don't know. I don't agree with them, but they are free to do what they are want. Okay. So here we have, for Missouri, we have pears and apples and the quince. Quince, usually this one is not, usually it's not marketable fruit, but we can use it as jam and jelly, but it is rootstock for pears. They have very good rootstocks all the home, and we can use Cydonia, and that's quince. For fruits, which is prunes, uh, apricot, peaches, almond, plums, sweet and sour cherry. They are all of them the same genus, which is prunes. Persimmon, I have one here in front of my, you can see, I don't know if it's in the window, it's persimmon. And this one, the best way to keep it, and don't touch the fruit, don't pick the fruit till the fruit drop down. That time the fruit will be delicious, will be very delicious. So this tree is kind of strange for pollination, that kind, because these trees, some people, if they have more than one tree, they can help each other, pollinate each other. But for this tree, we have male and female. Sometimes we have some fruit trees like this one, persimmon, like pistachio, you see, like figs, we have the female flowers on one tree and male flowers on other trees. One of them is persimmon. But sometimes you can find farmers who has many trees and they can fertilize each other. Scientifically, there is something need to be clarified. How? But that this is really what I see. I see male flowers on this side and female flowers on this side. And now 2 years we tried it and it's good fruits. When I go to grapes here, I said I am not looking. I can have wine grapes, no table raising grapes. Maybe use juice, but European variety, Arabian species genus is better than species better than that. Mulberry, we can grow it, and it's a good one. We have nuts, pistachio, hazelnut, and pecan. For us, we have to select the rootstock that goes with environment, soil, goals. What do you want from it? Goals. And resistant. So we can choose what should stock according to what we have in our area. Now I will go to one of the main subject about fruit trees is pruning.
I think this is perfect transition. I was ready to ask about pruning, especially given the weather that we've had this past week in most of Missouri.
Yes.
So talk to me too about timing on pruning as well as the reasons for pruning.
Yes. I will talk the timing. The timing, we have to be, different from one plant species to another. I know apples and pear, they are the most, you can say, cold resistant. They are very cold resistant. So if we prune them early, it doesn't hurt. But if I prune stone fruits, it's trouble, their trouble. So we have to know what kind. So for farmers, for example, who has apple trees and pear trees, he prune them first, then he goes to the others, but he have to avoid the frost. Last 2 nights, the temperature went down maybe to -18 or something. It's dangerous. So we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful. So the timing is very, very essential and accurate. And if you make mistake, you're gonna suffer. Your trees will gonna suffer.
So let me
So
ask you a few specifics just for clarity on this. I have
yes,
always heard from apple growers that if you start around Thanksgiving, once we have had our first frost of the season and get all your pruning done in that November to December, maybe even January window, they avoid disease, but they also miss that harsh cold that we often get in February. Is that accurate for things like apples? But then when it comes to your stone fruit, your peaches, your apricots, you want to wait till past your
even
last hard freeze or past your last frost.
okay. And the fact is, I think I don't agree with those farmers because fall pruning it has some dangers to the trees
Okay.
because you are opening and the weather is gonna get cold and diseases will infect pests and pathogens. They will attack your trees. So please don't do that one.
Okay.
Tell tell frost bass in the spring, early spring. It's the best. Early spring is the best. Some trees, I I have to be careful about some trees that will be damaged from even the snow and fall them. So sometimes the trees got backed with the snow that will be heavy on the branches. Sometimes it break the branches. If that happen, that you're gonna cut the branches that broken at that time. Otherwise, just leave the trees, sleep safely.
Okay.
It
That
means
makes sense.
dormant. dormant safely. Pass through the dormancy safely. Sometimes I will talk about it. We have summer pruning. I know that, but we have condition that to do that, not just go to your trees and I'm talking about deciduous. I'm not talking about evergreen, not citrus, no mango, no, just deciduous. Okay, so for by pruning, we remove all branches that touches each other. I don't like branches rubbing the next one to it because that will make wound. It will make channels through disease to pass through. Other thing that I go to the crown. You know, the crown is the area that between rootstock and the soil, the top of it. It's usually close to the ground. That crown is supposed to be at least 2 to 4. I prefer 4 inches from the ground. The crown, the attachment between two, the variety at the top and the rootstock on the bottom, should be usually 4 inches away. Otherwise, if the soil reach that point, that soil or the variety you planted, hoping you have one variety, golden delicious or red delicious, whatever, it will start rooting. And by that way, you canceled the rootstock. And this is wrong. We are doing and costing us money. We are doing the rootstock for purpose, not just for fun. So we have to keep rootstock connect point with the top one above the ground. So we clean that area. We clean what we call it water sprouts, and we clean suckers which come from the rootstock, from the bottom ones. We have to clean them. Otherwise, just competing for the top one, for everything, for water, for nutrient, for everything. So we have to clean it. The other thing that's for pruning, we prune to make the canopy open so I can see it. I look to it and I see the branches will spread. That branches will receive enough sunlight. I don't like them to be crowded. So crowding result in shading. I don't like that to do. So if you don't prune, my time you make maybe you don't have time or something, you end up with very or many branches, thin ones, just vegetative growth, weak and no fruit because it doesn't have enough energy to make fruit bud for the next year. You know, fruit trees, they grow this year and they make fruit buds for next year. So when you come in the spring, all of them, they are formed, start and formed in last January, June, and end up in September. That they are ready, just dormant. When they come spring, nothing new, just that branch, that buds will grow and give branches or give buds. So we have to be careful about the stored material in your plant. Don't make your plant hungry for food. Hungry for food means photosynthesis, means the leaves will synthesize the carbohydrates and protein, everything, including plant hormone. So we have to make the branches less in number, will spread, will exposed to sunlight. I remove the dead, the broken, the dying, the deformed, all these I have to move. Any shoot growing straight up, I have to remove it. That's don't expect anything from it, just growing taller and taller. So shoot going downward, I have to remove it. That's clear. You know, when I remove, I don't leave stubs. You know, the stubs, it's the base of the part you cut. So I don't touch the main trunk or the main branches. but I get away from them maybe half an inch. So I don't like the branch I cut from or the trunk I cut from to be wounded. So I have to leave small piece of the wood for, to don't make wound. So if there is branches crossing like this, if there is branches like one down and one up, we have to remove the lower one. That's shading. So what's about storm if the branch is damaged due to storm, we have to cut them. Try to cut them immediately. So the wood will heal from inside. The wound will be closed. So that's it. So crowding, competing, all of them we have to remove them. You see this one? I saw this one. This cut here, I consider it good cut.
So you're not at all cutting the collar, you're not damaging the trunk.
Yes.
Um, do you have suggestions on a sanitation practice
Yeah,
when
sanitation.
pruning?
Yes, for sanitation, I have to, when I prune, I have to sterilize my tools. I don't move from one tree to another without sterilization with isopropyl alcohol, diluted with your pruning shears, loppers, saws, anything, you have to dip them in that alcohol before you move. And for yourself, you have to put on glasses to protect your eyes. Otherwise,
So,
you might, yes.
so you're sanitizing from tree to tree, but not necessarily between cuts on the same tree.
No,
Is that
yes.
is
Uh-huh.
that different if you're dealing with something like fire blight or another disease?
Yeah, because we don't do this one since that disease attacked, it's in your tree. So I'm caring about or afraid of transmitting this disease from the next trees, which is free of it. That's why. So we have to be very careful because I saw it. I saw some varieties. They are next to each other. This is have bacterial problem and next to it not. So if I prune this one, which is have the bacterial, I open the channel for in the healthy one. So I have to be very careful. Put signs on your disease plants and try to avoid them and be very careful about sterilization of your tools. I'm afraid that sometimes you try, some diseases you might take it with you even in your coat or something touching or so we have to be very careful about disease. Bacteria, virus, it's really dangerous. It's really dangerous. Maybe Phytophthora or pestis or other kind of pathogens maybe easier, but when it reaches to virus and bacteria, it's a big problem. Some bacteria we need even to give antibiotic to the tree.
Perfect.
So here I'm talking about dormant pruning. I'm not talking about, I will talk later on, I will talk about summer pruning. So here, make sure that before the pluming starts or before the swelling of the buds, I am afraid of bleeding. I don't like my tree to lose any of its stored material because if it is active and the activity from where come from the roots, it starts bumping or pushing liquid up to the tree. And you cut, especially if you have big cut, the tree is losing a lot. So we have to be prune when the tree is still preferably in complete dorm. And this kind of fall pruning, as I told you before, I not recommend it because diseases and insects will spread and will attack that tree. So sometimes you say, I want to just concern, I'll talk about more about the grapes. Grapes pruning is essential, very, very important every year for grapes. It's different from the others. Other fruit trees, we can, especially new ones, we can leave them sometimes even to 3 trees, to 3 years to prune them. It depends on the size of the tree and how it's doing. But for grapes, we have to prune it from and train it from the first year. Each grape, each vine, and by the way, for grapes, we don't say orchard. For grapes, we say vineyard. So in our vineyard, each grape vines has to have support with it to grow straight up. We don't like our trunk be bending from the side or to other side. So we have. And for grapes, for the first year after planting, we recommend that you visit your orchard not less than a week. A week, maybe maximum, to go to see your vines and make them straight up because we need a straight trunk. Straight trunk, this is needed especially for grapes, for wine, and for raisins. We can harvest them mechanically, not by labor, by hand picking, because it's expensive. So, so we have to adjust our machine, just go straight. So we make our vines the same height, the same straight line for spraying anything. For grapes, we have to prune annually. If you miss 1 year from pruning, you're gonna have or you need at least 4 years to return back your vine to carry crop properly. So we have to be careful about grapes, wine, or here in Colombia, I'm not going to talk about table or raisins, but for wine or for juice, unfermented juice. So we have to be very careful for grapes. For trees, especially for beeches. Beeches, it need pruning, and you have to be careful because peaches, if the stem of the peach is too short, it is not productive. If it is too long, it is not productive. So we have to have our peach on certain length or height. And we do pruning to reduce the effort in fruit thinning. In beeches, we remove in thinning, fruit thinning. I'm talking about fruit thinning. After fruit setting, we remove up to 40, sometimes we reach 50% of peaches. So to get good colored, mature, round fruit and don't have to go through alternate peeling. Alternate peeling means 1 year you have crop, the other years don't. So the best way and the cheapest way and the easiest way to control peaches load is through pruning. And you make sure that you're gonna have good crop next year. So any branches damaged immediately, don't wait. You have to follow up your orchard or vineyard like you do with your animals. Once in a while, pass you through your orchard and see if there is any wrong with what you are growing. This way you avoid problem in the future.
Okay,
So
I am going to interject for just a moment. We're getting closer to time. It's 1:47, so we've got about 13 minutes. A reminder for anybody to ask questions, drop them in the chat, and in a couple of minutes, in about 5 minutes, we'll open mics for people to verbally ask questions. We do have one in the chat regarding planting, but since we are talking about pruning, I would like some clarification around when we are pruning trellised trees, in addition to all of the reasons you have listed, are we also pruning for height control? I
Yes.
guess in trellis trees or in standard
I
production.
will talk about that in training because we have pruning normal trees and we have pruning for making the frame of the structure of the tree. That's training. We call it training pruning for making the shape or the structure of the tree. I will talk about it, the height and how to select. This is just normal pruning. Here I said for beeches, I said I remove 40 to 50%. 40 to 50%. Sometimes for apples, no, we reduce because if for apples, if you prune heavily, you encourage water sprout to grow, and water sprout unproductive, just fast growing upward, not producing, not mature buds. So we have to remove it. So for apples to reduce that problem, we don't prune heavily. Peaches, we prune heavily. And peaches, is also weak for the wind. Yeah, last year here in Hartsburg, I saw two trees, almost on the ground. Just not severe wind, just wind. So we have to be careful about pruning. For pruning, we have two types. We have heading back and thinning out. Heading back means you come from the top and you go down. Especially for young seedlings, this one to encourage branching, to form the scaffold of the trees. For a lot of trees, for beeches, we go down, maybe 18 to 20 inches from the ground, we hit the tree. It doesn't grow up. Branches supposed to be lower. But for apples and pears, we go up even to 30 inches up. Then we hit. When we hit back, it means you take the central leader and you cut it back. Sometimes you remove 1/3 of it. We cut it back. So when we cut it back, it will start branching. We need 3 to 5 branches all around the tree. 3 to 5 branches. This, I'm not talking about vines. I'm talking about fruit trees except vines. No, vines, something different pruning, different. But this one for this one. So for us, for orchard trees, we're supposed to say pruning. When we say pruning, it means we are selecting will go with us. Trimming, like hedges. Usually we say trimming. When you come to the hedges to have it in the same level, no choice, nothing, just by machine and you cut the sides and the top. But for pruning, we have to select. That's the difference. So we leave 3 to 5 scaffold. For scaffold, we don't like branches have narrow angle for the main branches. And this has happened a lot in pears. In apples, it's less. So we have to have the 5 scaffold, I said from 3 to 5 around the tree, at least the angle is 45 or more. Because now for us, it's clear that when you have the branches wide and you have the branches sloping down like this, that means more fruits. That shoots shoot up, no. So we have to control our trees. For apple trees, some of them even goes even more than 30 feet. So too much. How are you going to harvest it? I will talk about pruning and using tools, but in addition to the tools, I will need maybe ladder to cut the higher branches. Now I come to this one, summer pruning. This one is different. This is why you have tree growing. After bud break and start growing. And you find branches not in good shape. Damaged by hand anyway. By wind, by mechanical, by whatever. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe snow, I don't know. So you have to take them off. I have to remove water sprouts. I have to remove suckers, which as I talked about earlier, that grows from the rootstock, from the root system. These suckers, what I'm talking about, that it's really needed by people who's growing hazelnut. It's different because they grow hazelnut by suckers. You find a called tree sometimes reach 7 branches going up from the ground and making the hazelnut tree. But in Oregon, they grow hazelnut like we grow apricot or plums, just one trunk. And in Oregon, there is a lot of area changed to grow hazelnut, a lot. So for summer pruning, sometimes you decide to remove your trees, move them from one location to another or from one farm to another, you change your way, they come in your way of building something, you take your trees. That case, you have to reduce the vegetative growth. You do summer pruning, otherwise your trees will dry. And if you transfer or taking your evergreen is different from deciduous. Evergreen, you have to protect them. Don't take them in the wagon in the back, exposed to the sun and the wind, especially you are speeding. So that way we have to be careful about, cutting maybe 1/3 of vegetative growth to save our trees. So after pruning, you make wounds. Sometimes they might be bleeding. You have to water your plants. Water them before pruning and after pruning. And now I'm talking about summer because these are evergreen. They are not remove any dead branches, any deformant, any dying, any broken, remove it.
Okay, we are at 5 minutes before the hour is up, and I want to make sure that we cover any questions that anybody has. I know there is still more to cover, but we do have a question in the chat about planting. Earlier, you had mentioned planting on slopes. Is there a recommendation north facing or south facing, and why?
Okay. For planting, when we plant our new seedlings, can I show you the slide of planting or no? We don't have time.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know how to show it. This is bare rooted. You can see it. This is bare rooted. How they carry them, but if they have big roots, we can cut the roots, reduce them. This is the planting. When we plant our tree, we plant it this way. We have to put it in water, as you see it, maybe for 20 hours, 24 hours. It had to be wet. Then when you dig the hole, your land, you dig the hole, you dig it will be wide and deep. We don't want the root to be compressed. We want them to grow smoothly. So you see, for example, when I dig it wide, 3 times the depth or more. Usually, from my experience, not less than 30 inch to 35 or 34 inches, not less than that deep. And that one is wider, maybe more. You can say sometimes if depend on the tree you have. So to make the soil loose around the roots and the roots not gathering together like this. We want them to spread. The fruit trees, especially here, that they are growing wide-wise and they go downward. Then after we take the soil off and put the trees, when we put the trees, we put them at the same height when they were in the nursery. If your soil is heavy clay and silty clay and that cause some time a problem, we can raise the our tree maybe 2 inches from the ground level. Otherwise, it will be at the same line with the nursery. And we put back the soil we removed from the hole. Return them back. Don't put other things. When you turn them back, press them, of course, with your foot and all around, and water them. Good water, not a small amount, good water. Then you can put, if you have any protector, to protect it from deers or, any rodent, any deers, any rabbit, any, any animals. You have to put tubes here, surround the trunk. Then I come here away from the root side, on both sides of the tree, and I put the support and reach support from this to the trunk with plastic or something moving. Not to, I don't like to girdle my trunk. This is trunk. We don't like to girdle. So the plastic is moving, smooth and moving. So we support from here and from here, maybe because otherwise the wind will move it to grow in a certain direction. I don't like that. So we leave it like this. Direction, if it is grafted, we prefer to put it on the north side. The, the, the buds that's growing from grafting point, because we have 1 or 2 buds. We put at least one on the north side to protect it from direct sun, especially coming summer. Okay? So this is the way we're supposed to do it. And after I do this one, press the soil, do everything, water it, good one, then you mulch it. As I said earlier, you mulch it either by pieces of wood, straw, anything that's to about a diameter of 3 feet, or you can say 1 meter, to protect from weed and from frost, from dry sun. And that's okay.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. We Charles is asking if we'll be able to get the slide deck. Would you mind sharing the deck with me and I'll make sure everybody gets it?
What's one?
I think at least everything pruning that we covered. Anything that you're willing to share.
I don't just talk about pruning for training, but
Okay.
I still planting and grafting and
There's
yeah,
so much to cover when it comes to this, and you're so well versed in it. It is hard to condense it down, but we are at the 2 o'clock hour.
yeah.
Um, Clarification on that. Heather asks, was he meaning the graft should be on the north side of the slope, or the slope should be north facing? The slope should be north facing. The
No,
graft
I
is
mean,
the whole tree.
yes, I'm talking about the graft itself. I'm
Okay.
talking about the bud which is grow from the graft. I prefer it to be directed if possible to the north.
Okay. To protect from
Okay.
direct sun. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I appreciate your time so much. It is past the 2 o'clock hour, and I wish we could continue this conversation. Unfortunately, this is the time allotted. I will make sure everybody is connected with Dr. Abusrewil. Again, he and his teammates at LU, the Small Farm Outreach, are available to visit on site. So if that's something you're interested in, that is always a resource, and we can help connect you. Missouri Organic Association, MOA, is hosting several educational opportunities throughout the year, continued webinars, at least monthly, if not more. If there is ever a topic you would like to know, please reach out and let us know. And we will be in Ewing, Missouri for a compost hands-on soil field day on April 16th. Please check our events page to find out more. And if anyone has follow-up questions, I am more than happy to connect anyone here. So please reach out to me. It is grace.ames, AMES, at moaorganic.org. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and thank you, Dr. Abusrewil.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks everybody for
Thank you
attention.
so
Thank
much.
you very
Have a
much.
great day.
Thank you very much.